Hello friends, in this video we shall learn about the British conquest of Bengal. So Bengal was very rich and wealthy state, and this had attracted the British to conquest eventually. There were very able Nawab of Bengal like Ali Wardi Khan, Murshid Quli Khan, but at the same time some weak ruler and betrayers were there who would support British and help them to create opportunity to conquest Bengal eventually. So Bengal was the richest province and it includes Bangladesh, Bihar, Orissa and West Bengal. All together make Bengal. And very highly developed agriculture, industrial base, very much fertile land and skilled labor was there in Bengal. Not only this, it was the hub of trade, and the products like saltpeter, rice, sugar, pepper, cotton textile, silk, indigo which is used for dyeing, and handicraft, saltpeter which is used for the gunpowder production. All those things were exported from Bengal to the rest part of the world. So this had attracted the British to come to Bengal and trade here, and approximately, if we see, about 60% of the British import from Asia to Europe was originated from Bengal, making it a very critical region for the British economy. So Bengal's wealth attracted British intervention and ultimately led to its conquest. Now, Bengal's richest province of the Mughal Empire included present-day Bangladesh, Bihar and Orissa. As we have discussed just now, that Bengal was the richest province and a successor province of the Mughal Empire, which used to pay some tribute to the Mughal emperor, and Ali Wardi Khan would stop paying those tribute and would declare the state as an independent state later on. And the raw product like saltpeter, which is used in the gunpowder, and rice, indigo, which is used as a dye, pepper, sugar, silk, cotton, textiles, handicraft, etc. were exported from Bengal to Europe. And English East India Company had significant commercial interest in Bengal, because about 60% of the British import from Asia came from Bengal. So during 1630, British East India Company would establish factories in Balasore, Hooghly, Kasim Bazar, Patna and Dhaka. So by 1630, British East India Company would establish factories in Balasore, Hooghly, Kasim Bazar, Patna and Dhaka. And by 1690, they would develop Calcutta as the commercial center. The company had to pay a sum of rupees 3,000 or $350 per year to the Mughal Empire to trade freely in Bengal, which is very nominal or very less, while the company's export from the Bengal was amounted to even more than 50,000 pounds per year. So can you see the ratio and imagine that how much times more they were making profit from the Bengal's export. And Murshid Quli Khan became the Diwan of Bengal in 1700 and ruled until his death till 1727. And he was succeeded by his son-in-law Shuja-ud-Din, who ruled till 1739. So these two Nawabs, that is Murshid Quli Khan and Shuja-ud-Din, were very able Nawab, and they would be a very able ruler, and under them Bengal would flourish and progress a lot in the field of agriculture, revenue collection, trading and making or strengthening the economy. Okay. After the Shuja-ud-Din, Sarfaraz Khan would come, who was incompetent son of the Murshid Quli Khan. He would become ruler just only for 1 year. Okay, only for 1 year from 1739 to 40. Who was killed by Ali Wardi Khan, who was the deputy governor of the Bihar at that time. He was the deputy governor of Bihar. So Ali Wardi Khan ruled from 1740 to 1756 and also stopped paying taxes to the Mughal emperor. Okay. Now Ali Wardi Khan would not pay any tribute or any taxes to the Mughal emperor. And Bengal made an unprecedented progress under the rule of these rulers. So Bengal had seen high progress during the reign of such able rulers like Murshid Quli Khan, Ali Wardi Khan, Shujauddin. Okay. While the rest of the India was troubled by Marathas invasion, Jat rebellions and external evasion by the Nadir Shah and Ahmad Shah Abdali, Bengal remained spared from these challenges. So, while we have seen that another regional state would involve in war, fighting against each other, Bengal would be spared from these challenges, and it will continue to progress. Almost all the governor of the Bengal strongly opposed the special privileges enjoyed by the English company, as it was causing huge losses to the provincial treasury, and gradually it became the main cause of the conflict between them. So every governor would oppose the duty-free trade or custom-free trade being done by the English, but gradually it became and also this duty-free or custom-free trade done by the English company would cause a heavy losses to the province's treasury. And because Bengal was continuously progressing, but due to the trade, duty-free trade, Bengal would see a huge losses because the trader of the Bengal would suffer a lot. And on the other side, the Bengal, under Bengal, the English traders English East India Company would make huge profit and would trade duty free. Okay. And gradually this became the main cause of conflict between the governor of the Bengal and the British East India Company. Now Ali Wardi Khan and the English. In 1741, Ali Wardi Khan, the deputy governor of Bengal, killed Sarfaraz Khan and became the Nawab of Bengal in the battle, and certified his position as new Subedar of Bengal by paying a large sum of money to the Mughal Emperor Muhammad Shah. So Ali Wardi Khan had to pay a large sum of money to Muhammad Shah. After this, he would stop paying the taxes to the Mughal Emperor. This will also happen. And Ali Wardi Khan ruled for 15 years, during which he fought with Marathas. He was a very brave ruler. And the British took advantage of the Maratha invasion, citing security, and obtained permission from the Nawab to dig a ditch and create a cordon around their state settlement of Fort William. He died in April 1756 and was succeeded by his grandson Siraj-ud-Dawla, the son of Ali Wardi's youngest daughter. So Ali Wardi Khan would rule from 1740 to 1756. And he became the leader after defeating Sarfaraz Khan. He stabilized Bengal and resisted the British attempt to control the region. And Ali Wardi Khan was like a strong captain who managed the sinking ship and brought Bengal back to stability during that difficult time. And the story of the British fortification of Fort William would begin from during the reign of the Ali Wardi Khan. So what happened, that Maratha was invading Bengal also. And the Britisher would took advantage from this situation. So Britisher would claim that for security purpose from the invasion of the other regional power, for security purpose, they need to fortify the Fort William. And also they would obtain permission from Alivardi Khan, the Nawab of the Bengal, to dig a ditch and fortify the area around the Fort William in Calcutta. Okay. Now what happened that Alivardi Khan would die in 1756, ending his reign as Nawab of Bengal. And he was succeeded by his grandson Siraj-ud-Dawla. He was the son of Alivardi Khan's youngest daughter. Siraj-ud-Dawla became the last independent Nawab of Bengal before the British established their control. Now there will be a tension between the Siraj-ud-Dawla, who was the successor of the Alivardi Khan. Okay, there will be a tension between Siraj-ud-Dawla and British. After Siraj-ud-Dawla would become Nawab in 1756, he would aim to assert his authority over Bengal and limit the British influence. But the British had fortified their Fort William in Calcutta without seeking permission from Siraj-ud-Dawla, and this would anger Siraj-ud-Dawla. So Siraj-ud-Dawla would take this fortification of the British East India Company as a threat to Bengal's sovereignty, and he would order Siraj-ud-Dawla would order Bengal to immediately stop fortifying it. But they won't stop. So Siraj-ud-Dawla would seize Calcutta and would attack and capture Fort William. And Siraj-ud-Dawla would say Britishers that they were dishonest and they are not following him. And he would imprison around 146 prisoners, okay, into a small dungeon, where only very few person can survive. And in that small dungeon, in that small room, he would put all those 146 prisoners, which this room is about only 14 into 18 feet. Okay, only that 14 into 18 feet, square feet. So with a very little ventilation and no space to move. Because of this action, many soldiers would die and only 23 prisoners would survive. Rest would die, according to the report. And this night was even termed as Black Hole of Calcutta. That is the night of 20 June 1756, when this incident took place. Now the British would retaliate. The incident was used to justify the British counter-attack and later action in Bengal, including the decisive of Battle of Plassey. So the Black Hole incident was the motivating factor behind the British Army's determination to defeat Siraj-ud-Dawla in Battle of Plassey in 1757. Okay, so Battle of Plassey was not just about the political control. It was seen as a moral battle to avenge or to take revenge for the death caused by the Black Hole incident. Okay. So there was a story like how this Britisher would make allies with the discontented official of Siraj-ud-Dawla, and they were able to defeat Siraj-ud-Dawla in Battle of Plassey in 1757. So this was the thing. Now, after we have seen how Alivardi Khan, after Alivardi Khan death in 1756, Sirajuddaula would come as a Nawab of Bengal, but since Alivardi Khan had given the permission to fortify the Fort William in Calcutta, but Sirajuddaula was against it, but the British would not stop fortifying his company, and this would cause a rift between the Sirajuddaula and Britishers, and thus Sirajuddaula would seize the Fort William and put all those 146 soldiers into a very small room of 14 into 18 square feet, wherein only 23 soldiers would survive. Now see, what are the challenges before the Sirajuddaula? Okay, let's see. Just in his 20s, means only he was a 20-year-old young boy. Just in his 20s, Sirajuddaula was so young and inherited many problems from his grandfather, such as his cousin, the Nawab of Purnia, Shaukat Jung, was his rival, hostile aunt, Ghaziti Begum, Mir Zafar, and a rebellious army commander. The rebellious army commander was Mir Zafar, and alarmed population of Hindus. So Hindus were also not happy from Sirajuddaula. And also there were conspiracy going on, internal conspiracy against him. His own cousin who were against him, and Shaukat Jung was against him. Ghaziti Begum was a very hostile aunt of him. She was against him. Then the army commander was against him. Now there was a prominent group in his court which included the Jagat Seth, Omi Chand Rai, Ballabh Rai Durlabh, and others who opposed him because he was very young, and they were old, and they did not wanted to be ruled by a young boy. So they were opposing him, and along with these internal rivals, Siraj was also threatened by ever-increasing commercial activities of the British. So Sirajuddaula had to face not only just the internal rivals, but also the external activity, like the increasing commercial activity of the British. Okay. So he defeated and killed Shaukat Jung and took away Ghaziti Begum's treasure and dismissed Mir Jafar and replaced him with Mir Madan and appointed Mohan Lal, a Kashmiri officer, as overall administrator. So he took all those action, okay, to stabilize his reign. Now we will learn how the Battle of Plassey occurred. Prelude to the battle. So what was the story before the battle? The company officials misused their trading privilege on a large scale, which had adversely affected the Nawab's finances. So company was taking advantage and misusing their farman and taking their trading privilege on a large scale. That had adversely affected the Nawab's finance, and it has drained the Bengal's wealth. And British fortified Calcutta without taking permission of the Nawab. The company further escalated hostilities by giving shelter to the fugitive Krishna Das, who had absconded with immense treasure against the Nawab's wishes. Now company, what it is doing, it is giving shelter to the... Now understand that Krishna Das was a man who worked under the Nawab of Bengal, Sirajuddaula, and Krishna Das was in charge of lot of money and treasure. but he would ran away with all these treasures, and this would make Nawab very angry. And the British would help Krishna Das, and British East India Company decided to protect Krishna Das, and they did him. They did not allow the Nawab to catch him back. This would upset the Nawab because he wanted to catch Krishna Das and wanted his money, stolen money, back again. Now the question is, why did the British do this? Why did the British help the Krishna Das? The British were already having problems with the Nawab, so they would prefer to shelter Krishna Das to make him trust to the British. Now Krishna Das would trust the British, as they would help, Britisher would help him and would give him the shelter. Also, these Britishers wanted to show their power, that they could do anything. They had more power even than the Nawab of the Bengal. So they would protect him, the Krishna Das. Now what would happen after this incident? This made the Nawab even more angry, and he would go against the British. And Nawab would decide to punish them. Okay, and eventually all this would cause the Battle of Plassey. So this was the behavior of the English to interfere in the local administrative matters. Okay, they would support the one who is against the king, and like this the conflicts began, and they would continue interfering in the local matter as like this. The company suspected that Shiraz would drastically curtail its trade privilege by allying with French in Bengal, and their hostility came to light when Shiraz attacked the English fort at Calcutta. So British East India Company suspect that Siraj-ud-Daulah had made ally with French and would attack to the English fort at Calcutta. Now, in the much publicized black hole tragedy that we have just now discussed, it is believed that Siraj-ud-Daulah captured 146 British people and locked them in a very small room. As a result, 123 out of them died due to suffocation. The arrival of the Robert Clive in Calcutta strengthened the English position in Bengal, and Clive formed a very secret alliance with the Nawab's traitors Mir Jafar, Rai Durlab, Jagat Seth, an influential banker of Bengal, and Omi Chand. So these were the persons who would make an ally with the Britishers against the Nawab of Bengal: Mir Jafar, Rai Durlab, Jagat Seth, Omi Chand. Okay, Mir Jafar, Rai Durlab, Jagat Seth, and Omi Chand. So all those were against the Nawab, and under the deal, Mir Jafar was to be made the Nawab of the Bengal for his services to the company, what he was doing, and he was betraying his own king. Now what happened? It is believed that the British victory in the Battle of Plassey, that is on June 23rd, 1757, was decided even before the battle was fought. Due to the conspiracy of the Nawab's officers, Shiraz's strong army, about 50,000 soldiers, was defeated by a handful troops of Clive. Siraj-ud-Daulah was captured and executed. After Plassey, Battle of Plassey, the British virtually monopolized the trade and commerce of the Bengal. As a result of this victory, Mir Jafar became the Nawab of Bengal, and he also gave a huge amount of money and jamindari of 24 pragnas to the British. So Mir Jafar would give lot of money to the British East India Company for making him the Nawab of the Bengal, and also he would give the Diwani rights of 24 pragnas to the British, Jamindari rights to the British. His main rival, the French, were driven out. So as a consequence of the Battle of Plassey, Britishers' main rivals, who were French, the another European power, were driven out. The Battle of Plassey had a political significance as it laid the foundation of the British Empire in India, and it is considered to be the starting point of the British rule in India. So Battle of Plassey was considered as the starting of the British rule in India. The battle established the military supremacy of British in Bengal, because they have driven out all their rivalries and took over the Diwani rights, but there was no obvious change in the form of the government. With the help of Clive, Mir Jafar was made the new Nawab of Bengal, who was completely dependent on the British. British sovereignty over Calcutta was recognized, and the British appointed a resident in the Nawab's court. So British would appoint their own resident who would look after all the activities in the Nawab's court. So these are the significant events of the Battle of Plassey. So in the next video we shall learn about the Mir Qasim and the Treaty of 1760. Okay, thank you.